Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are fast forwarding through a couple of lessons, and today we're going to be looking at Eureka Module 4, Lesson 29. Our learning target is I can connect division by a unit fraction to division by 1/10 and 1/100th. So earlier this week, we actually talked about dividing a number by a fraction. And today we're going to continue and build on that by dividing a number by a decimal in 1/10 and 1/100th. So let's take a look at a sample problem. Problem number 1 is 7 divided by 0.1, or a more accurate way, a more fifth grade way of saying that is 7 divided by 1/10. So what this question is asking me is, how many times can I take 1/10 and put it in 7? How many times can I fit 1/10 inside of 7? So we're going to talk about two methods today. The first method, please follow along with this in your green Eureka Math notebook, is a tape diagram. So what we'll do here is we will draw a tape diagram, and I will label it with 7 holes. And then I'm actually going to visually represent it by carving out some holes. 3, 4, 5, 6. Your tape diagram should have 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 boxes in it, because these are 7 holes. Now, this is basically asking me how many times can I fit 1/10 into 7 holes. So if I'm taking 1/10 and I'm trying to see how many there are, I know that when it comes to fractions, let's see if I can fit this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not very pretty, but I know that this will hold 10 tenths. So I'm actually going to label this 10. This one also holds 10. This has 10 tenths, this has 10, this has 10, this has 10, and this has 10. So I'm visualizing these are all really thin blue lines because there are 10 tenths here, 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, and 10 here. When I add these up, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Inside of here, there are actually going to be 70 tenths. And so my answer is going to be 70. Another way to work that problem out. So this first model was with a tape diagram. The second way that you can work this out is by rewriting this number to match this number. Let me show you what I mean. Instead of 7 holes, I'm going to picture this denominator. It's tenths. So I want to know how many tenths this is. And I can actually rewrite this as 70 tenths divided by 1/10. Now, here's a really important trick. Anytime your units match tenths and tenths, you can actually ignore them. 70 divided by 1 equals 70. So that's actually 2 ways that you can get your answer of 70, and they are both perfectly good. So you're going to think about which works best for you while we move on to problem number 2. Problem number 2 says 7 4/10 divided by 1/10. So first, I am going to draw a tape diagram because I want to see what 7 4/10 is divided by 1/10. So I'm going to draw another tape diagram, and I am going to label it like this. 7 4/10. Now I'm going to carve off this little bit on the end to be 4/10. And then I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in here, I have 7 holes and 4/10. And I now want to know how many times can 1/10 go into this number. So I'm going to look at it as how many times can 1/10 go into one hole. And I'll do that 7 4/10 times. So inside here, I know that there are 10 of them. There are 10, 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 and at the end, there are 4. That's how many tenths are in each chunk here. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 74. My answer is going to be 74. The other way of doing that without the tape diagram is as follows. Since I'm again working with tenths, I am going to try and see how many tenths 7 and 4 tenths are. And 7 and 4 tenths is actually just 74 tenths divided by 1 tenth. And I can again cross out my units. 74 divided by 1 equals 74. Let's try one more problem, and this is actually a multi-parter, but these are different because we are dividing them by 1/100th. So let's look at problem A, and I'm going to see if you can figure out problem B and C before I show you. So problem A, let's draw us a tape diagram. And we're going to go nice and quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now these are hundredths. And so I need to know how many times can 1/100th go into 7 holes. So in this first hole, there are 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, and 100. So I know that inside here, there are 700 holes. Writing this as a number sentence, I would say in hundredths, I would say 700 hundredths divided by 1/100th equals 700, because these units can cross out when they match. So my answer to the first one is 700. Notice what's happening to our decimal point when we divide by a small unit fraction. For the next problem, it would be the same. 7 and, oops, that's really big. It would be 7 and 4 tenths divided by 1/100th. So again, I would draw a tape diagram. And I know that inside each one, and then I'll put on 4 tenths at the end, it would be 100, 100, and I'm not going to write it all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700. And then how many hundredths are in 4 tenths? Well, that would be 40. So my answer would be 740. The other way of looking at it is I have 740 hundredths divided by 1/100th. And my answer would be 740. Problem C, let's see what you can do. 7 and 49 hundredths divided by 1/100th. Well, same deal. I know that inside of here, I would have 700 hundredths, and then here is 49 hundredths. So the number of hundredths in here would just be 49. So my answer would be 749. Finally, to show that with a number sentence, it would be 749 hundredths divided by, I'm running out of room here, 1/100th would equal 749. I know that this was a lot of new info to take in, but see if you can figure out how to apply this new knowledge to your exit ticket. Here is your exit ticket. It is 2 problems. Go ahead and do it on your Post-it and then stick it up on the wall when you are done. There are 2 problems. Please try your best on both of them. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can come up with. Check Google Classroom. It's got the steps, but we're going to be doing problem set 2 and 3 after you finish the exit ticket. Please do these 2 problems on a Post-it, and good luck.